The Cuban regime is a cancer.
It's an illegitimate, terrorist, murderous regime in Cuba.
Cuba is unfortunately, a failed state.
U.S. politicians love talking tough on Cuba, except when it comes to chicken.
66% of the chicken that's eaten in Cuba, which is the staple protein in Cuba, comes from the United States.
In the first 6 months of 2021, Cuba imported $123 million worth of chicken from the United States.
Chicken exports to Cuba are a talking point in Washington. The argument goes, if Cuba imports so much chicken from the US, then the embargo can't be that bad.
That's a terrible spin and, frankly, a disingenuous argument. We have restrictions on Cuba unlike any other country in the world. It's simply not fair, and it's certainly not in the interests of the United States. We represent about 100 national and state agricultural groups, farmers, producers, and companies. But one thing that they all agree on is they don't understand the present policy towards Cuba. It doesn't make any sense. While we are allowed to export food to Cuba, we can't offer credit terms, so we can only do it on a cash basis. 95% of what we export is poultry meat, because we can export poultry meat at a very affordable price. Price is so good that they don't need credit. So it makes sense for us to offer just cash terms and for Cuba to purchase it because it's so less expensive. But that's not true for every product. For example, rice exports, wheat, soybeans, and corn, animal feed. There's no home in the United States and no country in the world that can operate only on a cash basis. We operate on credit, but you're going to the store and you're buying your groceries, you're buying whatever goods you want, and you're putting most of that in a credit card so you can pay that 30 days down the road, because you may not have the cash to pay for those goods that you need that very moment. It's the same way for countries. There's other barriers. One is the banking relationship. I can't go to my local bank the way I normally operate with every other country in the world. I have to go to a third country bank, which increases my costs. After 60 years, the only people who will continue to suffer are Cubans and American citizens. American citizens because they can't freely travel down here, they can't do more business on the island. That hurts Cuba's economy and ultimately hurts US exporters as well. And we're supposed to be helping civil society and the private sector. We're doing just the opposite. You can't tell me that it doesn't hurt if you cut off trade from the most powerful economy in the world that happens to be the most logical partner, which is 90 miles away. What Cuba ultimately wants is to have normalized relations with the United States. And normalized relations means we do this business the same way we do with other countries around the world. Policy as it is right now between the United States and Cuba goes through Miami. But we can't allow one state to determine the entire foreign policy of our country. We need to start turning to the other 49 states who have an interest in deepening our relations, rectifying past errors, moving forward, not only to help producers in the United States, but to help producers in Cuba.